Super Smash Bros. Is one of Nintendo's best-selling video games of all time. And with the Switch 2 right around the corner, we should be expecting the next Smash game to be coming pretty soon. With each new Smash game comes new characters too. Some good additions, like Joker, and some not so great ones. I'm looking at you, Violet. So in this video, I will be predicting the next Smash characters that I think will be added in Smash 6. First character I think will be added to Smash is Sans. That's right, the Tumblr sexy man himself, Sans Undertale. Now Sans is probably one of the most iconic indie game characters of all time. It's no surprise that everyone loves this goofy goober made of bones. However, everyone loving Sans is not the only reason why I think he'll be in Smash. There are two more massive reasons why I think he'll be in Smash. Firstly, he's already kind of in the game, even if it's only for a costume, unfortunately. People freaked out when they saw that Sans was going to be in Smash, and considering the fact that Nintendo does listen to their fans occasionally, the amount of positive feedback that came from Sans, he'll most likely be added to the game. The other factor that makes me believe he'll be in Smash is actually from a newsletter from the man himself, Toby Fox. Now in case you don't know, Mr. Fox likes to put interviews with the Papyrus in his go-through newsletters sometimes. In one of those newsletters, Papyrus was asked how he felt about Sans being in Smash, and Papyrus cleverly responded by saying that Sans would just trick someone into wearing a costume of him while he sat backstage eating two-dimensional food. However, at the end of the question, Sans asked Papyrus about an invitation for something, implying that Sans is in fact being added to Smash as a real character. Now I know what you're probably saying.
Viking King, this obviously just a joke that Toby added to be funny. This does not actually mean he's going to be added to Smash.
And to that, I say, you make a good point. But that doesn't mean I can't pretend that this means he won't be added to Smash. Another beloved character who would be perfect to add to Smash is Crash Bandicoot. Now, I myself have never played a Crash Bandicoot game before, so I don't know much about the character or the game. I do know that the games are widely received as great, and many people want Crash to be added to Smash. Once again, this boils down to Nintendo listening to their fans and adding a character that many people would be happy about. I'm sure Nintendo will hear our cries though and add this little gremlin to the game. Pokemon is the biggest franchise in the world currently, so it only makes sense for Nintendo to add at least one more Pokemon to Smash. Some of those iconic Pokemon are already in Smash, and if they aren't, then I feel like it would be kind of difficult to add them. What would Eevee's moveset even be? There's one Pokemon who would be perfect for Smash, and that Pokemon is Decidueye. Decidueye was already supposed to be in Smash before they got replaced by Incineroar. Since they're a fan favorite, it makes sense to add it. Plus, I'm sure Nintendo already has a moveset ready for Decidueye, or at least have some of it complete. Overall, it feels like Decidueye is the most likely candidate for the next Smash game when it comes to Pokemon characters. Now, what's a Smash game without another Mario character being added to the game? There's plenty of good Mario characters to choose from, but I think a good one to add would be Geno from Super Mario RPG. I sure hope that it's pronounced Geno. It might be pronounced Geno. I honestly have no clue. After Super Mario RPG had a remake, it grew in popularity again, and Geno is definitely a more well-known character now. With Smash pretty much having most of the important characters from the Mario games, it only makes sense to start adding more important characters from the spin-offs, especially a sick character like Geno. Sonic is a huge game series, so it's quite a surprise to me that not more Sonic characters are on Smash yet. With the Sonic movies doing so well in the box office, especially Sonic 3, I feel like it's very likely that they will add some Sonic characters. For the sake of there being 3 Sonic movies, I'm gonna go ahead and say that there are 3 Sonic characters too, and I'll state them all in this section. Firstly, how could they not add Sonic's second most important character, Dr. Robotnik? Without him, most of the Sonic games wouldn't even be a thing. Who doesn't love themselves a good mad scientist? It's also hard to choose between Tails and Knuckles, but in the end, I settled on the Echidna. It feels more fitting for someone like Knuckles being Smash since Knuckles tend to fight more while Tails is there for the tech. Then for the final character, Shadow seems like a perfect fit. Everyone loves the edgy hedgehog, and he's risen in popularity once again with the showing of Sonic 3. Plus, Sakurai seems to love putting people in the game with a gun neutral special. So why not have Shadow with his gun being perfect for Bunch 2? Ace Attorney is a great game with an amazing story that so many people love. So it wouldn't be a surprise if Phoenix Wright waltzed into Smash, objecting everyone in his path. There's plenty of moves that they could add in for Nick to make him an all-around fun character. It may not be as likely that he'll be in Smash 6 as the others, but I feel like he's still a worthy choice that Nintendo could pick, and that is definitely, totally, my completely unbiased opinion. In case you didn't know, Ryu was added to Smash in Smash 4. Then Ken was added in Ultimate. So why not keep up the trend and add yet another Street Fighter character to Smash? I feel like M. Bison is another character who could be added into the next game. After all, he's the main antagonist of Street Fighters, so it would be perfect to have both the main protagonist and main antagonist in the game. Plus, M. Bison would be a perfect heavyweight. And, spoiler alert for this video, M. Bison and Dr. Eggman are pretty much the only two heavies I have here. So, Nintendo needs to add at least a couple of heavies to their next Smash game. Now, I don't know much about the Xenoblade series. I've never played the third game. But considering the main character of the first game is in Smash, and the blade of this... Blades? I don't even know. The blades of the main character in the second game is in Smash. But I feel like the main character of the third game deserves to be in Smash too. That's why Noah is another character who I believe will be in the next game. Xenoblade is already a pretty cool game series, and from what I've seen, Noah seems like a really cool guy. Like I already said, I don't know too much about Xenoblade, but from what I do know, Noah seems like an excellent choice in the next game. Now, I don't feel the need to explain myself here. Nintendo's probably gonna add another Fire Emblem character. I don't know who, all I know is that it's guaranteed to happen. Anyway, back to the actual interesting characters. Bandana D is a character that I'm surprised hasn't already been added to Smash. Kirby is a well-liked Nintendo franchise, so the fact that there's only 3 Kirby characters in the game baffles me. It's a close call between Magloire and Bandana D, for who I think will be in Smash 6, but Bandana D has appeared in a lot more Kirby games, unlike Magloire. Therefore, I personally feel like there's better odds of Bandana D being added. Now, before I reveal the final character, I want to say an honorable mention. I feel like Rayman has a chance to be added to the next Smash game, but not as much as the other characters. He's a goofy, lovable guy who has excellent games. Also, just like the other characters on this list, a lot of people wanted to be included in the roster. However, I put quite a bit of third-party characters on this list, and I don't know if Nintendo will add that many. But I'm also not saying he's out of the question. Finally, I've saved the best for last on this list. There's no way that the GOAT, the one that everyone loves, quite possibly the hottest Nintendo character, won't be added. Waluigi pretty much has a spot reserved for him in Smash 6. We will riot if he's not added. Nintendo will face the wrath of millions of angry Smash fans. Also, with the addition of Waluigi, we can finally have Mario, Luigi, Wario, and Waluigi all be in the same game. And you can't tell me that wouldn't be awesome. Please keep in mind that none of the characters in this list have actually been confirmed to be in the next Smash game, and this is all just speculation. While I do think that a lot of the characters in this list will probably be added to Smash 6, it's extremely unlikely that they'll all be added. So we'll just have to wait and see until the actual game comes out to see if I'm a prophet or if this video ages like milk. I hope you enjoyed the video though, and if you watched all the way to the end, then consider subscribing, it would help me out a ton.